Hello and welcome back to Chakras and Cuss Words. My name is Catherine. I am your podcast host. And I'm going to tell you guys, I wasn't even sure if I was going to do this recording. But I was like, get up, get out of bed. Let's go, let's do it. Let's get it cracking. So hopefully I'm going to be able to release it right on the day of the full moon. I'm definitely not going to be posting a video to go with it. So if you are watching it or listening to it on YouTube, it's just going to be a podcast format. No card showing for this video, for this podcast. And the reason why is because I have very little energy right now, and it's kind of been crazy. It must be because we are entering the full moon era of Sagittarius. And that's why everything's feeling a little bit more broader and more expansive and more abundant and more energy exhausting. Okay, so let's get into this. So we have a full moon in Sagittarius. It's happening 5/23/24, and you're probably listening to this podcast on the day the full moon comes out. But if you're a couple days later, it doesn't matter, because in all honesty, we still have that full moon illumination that is taking place that you can really enjoy and create some areas of manifesting and intention. So the full moon in Sagittarius is occurring at 9:53 a.m. Eastern time. The sun will be in Gemini. And this is basically a time that the universe is dialing up our areas of intentions, adventure, and our mystical matters that really come forward, right? This is an amazing time for us to really get focused on some of our higher wisdom and our areas around that. So if you're a mutable sign, this is the full moon for you. It's really affecting the mutable signs, which would be the Sagittarius, the Gemini, the Virgo, and the Pisces. So get ready to embrace all the cosmic possibilities that this full moon is going to give you. And some might be thinking that you might be feeling a little bit more, I guess you could say almost devilly delicious, or living in your villain era. But in all honesty, you're just really centered around the energy of that fire, of that intensity that the Sagittarius brings. So don't let that stop you. You're just getting started. This also might be a time that you are feeling the urge to cut people off because they aren't really seeing some of the thinking and logic and the area of purpose that you are standing in right now. And I and the universe are giving you permission that if you need to cut some ties, this is the time to do it, as we have that energetic alignment that is really occurring on a high energy day. We have Venus entering Gemini. We have the full moon in Sagittarius. We have Jupiter entering Gemini. We also have Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius. So this is definitely a high energy day. This is also a moment to cut off whatever doesn't feel aligned with you. And of course, the Zodiacs that really are going to want to pay attention to this are the mutable signs, which include the Sagittarius, the Gemini, and the Pisces, and also the Virgo. The chakras that I would say to focus on for the most part are the sacral, the solar plex, and the throat chakra. And when I think about the full moon in Sagittarius, we have to remember Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, that area that feels optimistic, it feels good, it feels adventurous. So a full moon in Sagittarius often brings that area of exploration and the area of seeing the higher center, this higher self, learning to deep dive into the area of the freedoms and pursue more knowledge that allows you to do that. Also pursue more energy around opening and broadening your horizons, mostly, in the physical aspect, but also in the mental and the spiritual as well. And if that means increasing meditation, if that means being more centered in what it is that moves you on the everyday, what it is that wakes you up, that's something that you're going to want to look forward to doing, especially in the next 3 days. It's also a time you're going to want to seek some truth. You're also going to want to seek some adventure, some higher education, that quest for truth. So make sure you check out the podcast. I got a lot of birth charts on here, a lot of numerology readings, a lot of fun things to get that area enlightened. And also we have a lot of meditations that you could tap into as well. During this full moon, it's a strong area centered around an understanding and a wisdom. So allowing yourself to gain that knowledge and allowing yourself to pursue that. Also, it is a time that you might be feeling a little bit more honest, and that throat chakra is really opening up. And also, so is that crown. So you'll really see that energy of communication, that thought process. It might feel a little bit direct, and it might feel a little bit too direct for some people. And that's where that factor might come in, where ties are getting cut. But in all honesty, if this full moon brings some revelations of truth to the surface, it's a good time to promote clarity and really the openness that comes behind the truth instead of the wonder and the speculation. This is also a good time where we'll see the cultural areas and spiritual areas really receiving some more, I guess you could say, more people are going to be centered around looking to gain in different areas that they're used to, and go ahead and make those moves towards travel and make those moves towards new spiritual practices or expanding a cultural awareness. This is also a time that we're going to be centered on personal growth and influence and the relationships and the energy around the relationships. It's also a good time to harness in new intentions with every full moon, especially a full moon in Sagittarius. Full moon in Sagittarius makes me want to get adventurous. It makes me want to enroll, start new projects and activities. Also, when we think about rituals, we're going to want to bring in that element of fire. We're also going to want to bring in that area of truth. So definitely the throat chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and the crown chakra. Also, we're going to want to expand our mind and our spirit in the area of the physical and the spiritual world. So if that means meditation, if that means reading books, or even practicing some intuition and getting centered in how clairvoyant and beautiful you are as a mystical, mysterious creature of this lifetime. It's definitely a good time to connect with nature. I would like to connect when we are thinking about the energy of the Sagittarius, definitely the energy of the element of being outside, of taking in the area of the warmth of the sun, taking in the energy of the wind, taking in the energy of the earth, and also the area of fire, because it is a fire sign. Taking some time to release, and also taking some time to explore your freedom and explore your energies of adventure. The full moon in Sagittarius is a very dynamic full moon, and some might even say sometimes these full moons tend to be very lucky because we do have a lot of areas centered around that Jupiter planet that rules the Sagittarius. So don't feel too bashful when you're creating your intentions. You're going to want your intentions to be strong. You're going to want your intentions to be bold. You're going to want your intentions to be blunt, like the Sagittarius. Brave, courageous, right? Brave and courageous. When we think about mutable signs are that energy that feels very welcoming in the space of movement, of moving towards a new process, but it also feels very welcoming. It feels very abundant. It feels very magical. So let those intentions really scream from the rooftop, own it, feel it, enjoy it. The flower moon, so this is also known as the full moon in Sagittarius, which is the flower full moon in Sagittarius, occurs in the month of May. And it's named the flower moon because it is based on the areas of the time. In May, we think of all the blooming flowers, especially in the northern hemisphere. During this time, it's, very gorgeous, especially like if you can take time to get outside and maybe go to a flower field or somewhere where there are tons of sunflowers or there's tons of flowers kind of blooming all around you. Enjoy that space and enjoy that area. Also, there's a lot of native traditions that are around the flower moon. So it originates from the Native Americans naming these traditions and also particular areas of the Algonquin tribes. These names are and were used to track the season's phenomenons and also the areas of natural seasons. So it is associated with the wildflowers and also the other plants. Other cultural names for the May full moon, which is known as the flower moon, is also the milk moon and the corn planting moon, reflecting in the agricultural activities that occurred during this time. And we tend to see the milk moon and the corn planting moon more centered around the European traditions versus the native indigenous tribes of the Americas. The energy of the full moon is known to bring the illumination. It's known to heighten the emotions and the area of the cycle of intention. So that's why when it is a full moon in Sagittarius, it feels bold, it feels brave, it feels a little bit more centered around movement of that energy. So the full moon in Sagittarius is all about that area of stepping to the max level, stepping to the area of growth, pushing the abundance a little bit further, pushing the wisdom a little bit further, kind of heating up to the peak of the bloom, to the peak of the intensity of that moment. So just as the flowers bloom, we want to reach this peak during this time, right? During this time of the moon, and also celebrate and also create towards personal growth and achievements. So reflect on your progress and understand that moving with new intentions also comes understanding the gratitude and the success that has already occurred, the success. And also we want to connect with nature, family, friends, gardening, hiking, and setting areas that allow us to feel renewed. So if that could be spending time with your family, going on an event that isn't centered around work or isn't centered around stressors, or if maybe your family is the stressors, then you're going to want to set intentions to renewal on different things that are more interpersonal, more centered around the focus of life for your personal transformation. This is also a time that you're going to want to release the emotional baggage that you have gained in maybe the last moon, full moon cycle. So if there is some energy towards release and healing, this is a perfect time to do some journaling and meditation. And of course, my favorite, a ritual bath, right? And put some plants by the ritual bath, put some plants in the ritual bath, put some flowers definitely in the ritual bath, especially when we have a full moon in Sagittarius that is known as the flower moon. I am expecting lots of flowers in the bath, lots of areas of petals, lots of areas of beautiful just fragrance, allowing that area to feel just a little bit romantic, allowing it to feel just a little bit more rich and a little bit more centered around renewal and enjoying those moments. Also, it would be a little plus if you wanted to put some milk or cream or some vanilla in the bath as well to really romanticize this area of abundance. And it will even tie into the milk moon traditions from the European ancestors for those who may have some. Also, we want to look at that energy of taking it all in, enjoying it, and moving past. And I will tell you, my house is kind of a noisy place tonight, so hopefully there's not too much background. This I usually don't record when everybody's home, but I wanted to, and I said, let's do it. So this reading is going to go a little fast, and that's just kind of the mood I'm in. I don't want to spend too much time talking, so we will go in the regular rhythm. We will be starting with the fire signs, and if you are a fire sign, that means you're an Aries, Sagittarius, or a Leo. And I want to thank you for listening to this podcast, and make sure you check out the podcast channel. For the fire signs, this is a time for you to concentrate on areas of the inner child. If that means creating connections towards children that are in your family, maybe repairing some wounds of the self, of the inner child. Also reflecting on that area of innocence, especially when we are looking towards creating intentions of pushing our energy to the full max of abundance. Where was it that we kind of left off? Where did we feel the most passion as a small child? What energies stopped us from fulfilling that place? Also, it's the time that you may receive a lot of rare and memorable gifts. So seek that movement of acknowledgement and gratitude when these gifts come to you, allowing the frequency of the universe to continue to feed the energy of what the universe will naturally flow to you. And when we look at the energy of this, it is very vibrant. So understanding that the gratitude comes with each practice, of each movement, of each understanding that it's a beautiful thing to receive and to embrace the areas of gifts, because some of the most beautiful gifts we get could be free. Some of them could cost money. Some of them could just be as simple as somebody expressing how much you mean to them. So pay close attention to the world of the gifts. Also value the children around you when it comes to building relationships and building those sacred bonds, not only for the internal healing, but also the external as well. For the water signs, we have the Scorpio, the Cancer, and the Pisces. This is a time that you are going to really feel some spontaneous energy. You might kind of like wake up and say, what am I going to do today? It's going to feel adventurous. It's going to feel like an activation. And it is time for you to bring that energy full forward. It's also going to be a good time for you to create intentions towards this spontaneous energy that maybe you didn't see coming, but it's here. It's also a time I really want you to work on the throat chakra. I really, really want you to feel comfortable with that throat chakra, understand the ability of the throat chakra, how powerful that core message is. It is almost like a spontaneous awakening, the solar plex being initiated, and move forward with that. Also, this is a good time to move in the intentions of emphasizing the growth around you. So definitely the throat chakra, the solar plex chakra are the chakras for the water signs for this energy. Also take in that area of using the time to your benefit. So that might mean rearranging your calendar a little bit, reorganizing, and seeing what works, what feels right for you, regardless of what might feel right for others, but this is about you. So look at that space. For the earth signs, if you are an earth sign, that means you are a Taurus, you are a Virgo, or you are a Capricorn. So for the earth signs, this is a time that you might be feeling a little homesick. Or you might be looking at the journey of home, what it is to you, what it feels like to you. Just know that all paths lead to home. I saw one of these memes, and it was, I think I even shared it on my Instagram. And it was like this woman, and she's out in nature, and it says like the portal, or like nature is the portal of home. It brings you to that internal home. So really take that time to look at the inner authority and intuition and turn your gaze within it. Allow yourself to enjoy it and practice that space of what feels right, where it is that you want to be, and embrace it. Understand that nature does bring us home, because that is, in all honesty, the traditional home, the elements, the area of the earth, the water, the air, the sound, the warmth, the heat. I also feel like this is a good time for you to reflect on, is the home feeling like a sanctuary? The home should always feel like a sanctuary. So if it isn't feeling like a sanctuary fully, then look at how can we get it where it feels like a sanctuary, where it is the sanctuary, where it is that place where the calming occurs. If that means cleaning. Oh, cleaning. Did we ever get done cleaning? Cleaning, tidying up. Maybe do that. If that means bringing in more plants, then do that. If that means bringing in more voices of socialization, allowing people into the home. Maybe the home has been kind of shut off, but allowing that sanctuary to really fall, and turn your gaze within, right? Turn your gaze within what it is that you understand within you, and allowing that to really hold focus. Also, I know people always say, trust your intuition. And it just seems so vague, but so conscious, but so wise at the same time. But then a lot of times people are thinking, did I trust my intuition? Am I trusting my intuition? Am I doing it right? Yes, you are. Trust your intuition. Let that inner authority, that inner space, that inner intuition speak to you. Hold it. Use it, especially towards the next movements of what it is in your intentions. For the air signs, if you are an air sign, that means you are Aquarius, you are a Gemini, and you are a Libra. So for the air signs, breathe. Breathe. Especially for the air signs, breathe. Heart chakra activation, breathe. Breathe and take a breath of the cosmos. Get out there, enjoy that moonlight, enjoy that stargazing if you can, and really understand that if there is a time to breathe, there is a time to succeed. The will is there. And when the will is there, you are there. So allow yourself to really understand that you will succeed when you are able to really have that belief system, when you are able to really trust yourself and believe yourself that is possible. And if there is a will, there is a way. And sometimes we might feel like everybody's controlling us. So maybe we're controlling ourselves with our limiting self-beliefs. Maybe we're controlling the universe because we want to micromanage everything, right? So kind of leave it up to the universe, but also create those intentions and create that structure behind it. Because you have to have somewhat of a plan, you have to have somewhat of a strategy in every intention. So I would say journaling, breathing and journaling is what I see for the air sign. So if that means writing some intentions down, then going outside, doing some grounding, doing some stargazing, doing some moon appreciation, taking in those cosmic breaths, following with some journal affirmations, some journal intentions for the air signs is what I'm really seeing. I'm also seeing a lot of energy towards the area of not just the crown chakra, but also the third eye chakra as well, of the intuition. And of course, the heart chakra, as we need to take in that air energy of the cosmos. So I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast of the full moon in Sagittarius. And I hope you guys all have an amazing, amazing full moon in Sagittarius. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and please leave a 5-star review. It helps me move up the podcast ladder, and it allows my podcast to be more user searchable for people who are looking for astrology readings, or also for areas centered around the chakras. So I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing full moon in Sagittarius, also known as the flower moon. Bye.